Good morning, everyone. Lee Henson here, President and Founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's edition of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. In a very recent article that someone sent my way from the Techwell community on the Agile Connection newsletter, they put out an article described as, what does it mean to be an Agile organization? And they start off, Anna-Marie starts off and she says, so what exactly does it mean to embody an Agile mindset? Simply put, to be Agile means to empower your employees with the maximum flexibility within a clear structure. Interesting. I like that you kick it off that way, but I think that, when you're talking about big companies, she rattles off a list here, and I'm guessing this is the name drop. Lego, Adobe, Bosch, Fitbit, even though they're in different sectors, they're all trying to have a clear, disciplined, agile approach. And why? Don't disagree. She lists off 6 keys, is what she calls them, the 6 keys to agile success. So I thought we'd review each one of these keys, and I'd just talk a little bit about it and see where you stand and see if we can all just kind of, dig in and see how we feel about these keys. So the first key is guide, don't manage. Encourage autonomous, self-organizing teams. Let them make their own decisions. This sounds great, but, the truth is a lot of organizations, I feel, aren't necessarily ready for this step. And I don't think that it's a bad step, and I think it's certainly going in the right direction. But I think that many organizations still feel the need to heavily control an agile implementation until they know that it's perfectly fine. And I think that, it's easy for us to say, hey, let teams be self-organized and self-managed. But this is, in my opinion, if you broke down into level 1, level 2, and level 3 concepts, this is a level 3 concept. While on the surface we'd love to do that, and maybe at the team level it's possible for us to do that, it's just getting leadership to purely understand the principle of guiding and not managing, self-improvement and being good servant leaders and self-empowerment of the team. That is a difficult task to do. It's a difficult piece to bite off. And I think part of it weighs in the balance of understanding that leaders still want to maintain some level of control and understanding of what's happening within their organization versus the autonomy of teams getting to do what they want. So, in my opinion, I think that this is a great pursuit. She likens it to canoeing down a river. As an agile leader, you'll occupy the stern, guiding the boat's direction from the back. Your team's up ahead on the bow, taking initiative to lead the way down the river, flagging any hazards in your path. Yes, I get it. It's just hard to get that type of connection with agile leadership. So I guess what I would say is if everything else in your agile workspace is clicking along, moving along, you have high-performing teams, things are rolling and rocking, and things are going good, then yeah, this is a good idea. 2 is involve everyone. Including your entire workforce in your agile way of working is very powerful. I could not agree more. When it comes to evolution of culture in the workplace, everyone needs to be involved. Many, many years ago, when I was working with version 1 of the tool providers, one of the things that we often said was, even the custodial person on staff was a certified Scrum Master. And people would laugh at that. But it was true. If everyone understood what Agile was, and I'm not saying everyone needs a certified Scrum Master certification, but if everyone understood to that level what Agile was, it made it easier to work in that organization. It made it easier for you to have conversations. It made it easier for you to have an understanding of what everyone else was doing. And it gave everybody the power to use Agile to really do Agile. And I think that, if you're telling the people at work for you that they have a say in how the business is operated and how things are functioning, and give them the opportunity to do so, that it's going to give you a more driven, focused team. So this number 2, involve everyone, I totally wholeheartedly agree and feel like that's the right direction. 3 says trust and be trusted. A vital word in the Agile dictionary is trust. Trust is autonomous teams, no micromanagement. They need to really believe they have these aspects of their team members, encourage a culture of trust. Once again, we're talking about establishing an agile culture. Agile cultures are born both from the top down and from the bottom up. And I feel like no matter how dynamic your teams are, how amazing your teams are, if they're not doing number 4, they can't do number 3. So let's talk about number 4. Number 4 says be honest, transparent, and open-minded. Any and every Agile organization must continue to uncover better ways, adjust their course, and learn every day. I agree again. Take typical norms of working life, such as authorized annual leave or clocking in and out, and to get rid of those, turn them on their head. If you trust people are going to do the right thing, and you trust that people aren't going to take time off unnecessarily, and you trust that people are going to come to work and do their job, that's going to lead to people being more transparent, more open-minded, and it's going to build that culture that you're trying to establish. I think the big thing here is that a lot of people don't realize that Agile really is a culture. And it's something that if you don't have a culture of psychological safety, an environment of psychological safety, a culture of trust, it's hard to just spin a top and say, okay, now we're here. You need to really build and grow this. This in many cases is probably the most organic part about the Agile implementation. And I feel like while it's very powerful, it requires some changes. And I'm not sure that in many cases most organizations are ready for those changes. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but I don't know that many organizations are ready for those type of swing changes. And my hope is that over time, more and more organizations will embrace this and will take part in that change. But I feel like it's a steep hill to climb. I think part of that is number 5, encouraging a strong feedback culture. She goes on to say Agile is flexible and empowering for employees, but there'll still be conflicts. And you must acknowledge up front that it's going to happen. And as teams work closely on a day-by-day basis, it's key to nip any problems early to avoid any disruption to the dynamic that you're trying to create. I would say even more strongly than the negative feedback culture, I want to focus on the positive feedback culture. I mean, constructive criticism is great, but I also feel like when you have strong feedback culture, you're not afraid to applaud people who do a good job. You're not afraid to recognize people. You're not afraid to point out that someone had a better idea than you did. You're not afraid to say, together as a team, we can be more successful. I think that those positive feedback cultures are the things that are missing in most Agile organizations. I feel like, even in a traditional organization, some people find it easy to call others out if something's not right. But how much more difficult is it to call someone out when their idea was better than yours? I think that's the key to really making it successful. And then finally, number 6, she says, be a rule breaker. We are all brought up with boundaries. We arrive and leave school at a certain time. We must follow rules to solve mathematical problems. So don't even get me started on Common Core. Telling employees and business leaders to break the rules and go their own way is against every instinct we have. But if you're going to embody a true Agile mindset, you need to be a rule breaker. This is probably one of the first, so I want to congratulate her. This is one of the first times where I've seen someone so eloquently say, sometimes you got to go a different path. One of the big things that I've been talking about a lot lately in my Scrum classes is that anyone who tells you that there is a dogmatic approach to Scrum or to Agile and that you have to do it a certain way and that page 26 of the book says you need to do it this way, those are the people who are going to be, and organizations who are going to be the least successful in Agile. Agile requires you to have more of a transitionary, open-minded, pragmatic approach. What makes sense? What do we need to do, even if it's off the beating path, even if it's different than what we've done in the past? What do we need to do, whether it's just one-time situation, or what do we need to change in order to make our organization that much stronger? I think it's a powerful tool that you can use if you really are a rule breaker. Now, Anne-Marie, I want to applaud you. This is an excellent article. It's really well put together. Hannah, looks like you contributed as well, Hannah Price. This is really, really well done. I feel like it covers the crux of what organizations should be doing, and it covers some things foundationally. But I love, and I want to recap the 6 keys one more time just in order at the end here to final it out. Guide, don't manage. Involve everyone. Trust and be trusted. Be honest, transparent, and open-minded. Encourage a strong feedback culture. And last but certainly not least, be a rule breaker. And I promise you that if you incorporate many of these 6 things, or even all of them, that it's going to help your organization really have a better understanding and a strong hold on your Agile implementation. I'm glad someone sent me this article. This was great. So I hope that you also are encouraged to send something in that you see. You can always submit what you see to learn more at agiledad.com, where we'd love to feature you and your article here on the Daily Stand-Up Podcast. I hope this was useful to you. You can find more about this topic and many others at agiledad.com. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.